For the past few years, I've had an uncomfortable thought sitting in the back of my mind. When a beginner asks me if they should get into amateur astronomy, am I still giving them good advice when I say yes? Because I do say yes, and I've said yes for 15 years. I can't get enough of watching beginners lose their breath over their first sight of a galaxy that's tens of millions of light years away. So my instinct has always been to encourage people to get involved in this hobby. But lately, I've also been watching something else. I've watched my own skies get brighter, and I've watched as satellites become more common as they pass overhead. I've watched as the gap between humanity and the night sky has widened. And I wonder, is this still a hobby I should be encouraging people to get started with? Light pollution is undoubtedly getting worse. Satellite constellations are not just expanding, they are accelerating. And the proposals are becoming more and more extreme. When was the last time that you spent 5 minutes looking at the sky and didn't notice at least one satellite passing overhead? Because lately it feels like I could see 3 or 4 in that time frame. The European Southern Observatory, or ESO, recently warned about current satellite proposals totaling more than 1.7 million objects in orbit. Now, you don't have to just worry about the data center opening up in your backyard. SpaceX has proposed orbital data center satellites on a scale reported as high as 1 million objects. Another company, Reflect Orbital, is pursuing mirror satellites that would reflect sunlight back down on Earth on demand for sporting events and construction projects. Within the illuminated zone, it's expected that each satellite would be up to 4 times brighter than the moon. And outside of that, each one would be brighter than Venus. That's not just more stuff in orbit. That has the potential to completely reshape humanity's relationship with the night sky. But it isn't just the space above us that's changing, it's the environment right here on the ground. 10 years ago, LED streetlights were supposed to save the night sky from light pollution. They were sold to municipalities as cost-effective, and they were easier to shield against unwanted glare. But it turned out that the opposite occurred, as cheaper lighting led to more, even brighter lighting. But all this negativity is a stark contrast to the state of amateur astronomy today. For example, information is easier to find than it ever has been. When I first got seriously involved in amateur astronomy, learning the sky meant magazine articles, index cards with mini star charts, and physical atlases. I still rely on some of those, but pulling out a phone and checking the sky instantly is a totally different world. If someone wants to know what a Dobsonian is, or what eyepiece magnification means, or where Saturn is tonight, that answer is one click away. Information is no longer the bottleneck that it used to be. The same thing has happened with equipment. Apochromatic refractors are actually affordable now. Giant truss Dobsonians are mass-produced. Smart telescopes can produce beautiful astrophotos in real time. Some of the old familiar astronomy manufacturers and retailers have totally disappeared. More of it now comes through brands closer to the manufacturing pipeline, and that has helped push prices down and make decent equipment more accessible. There are more ways to get a capable telescope into someone's hands than there used to be. Locating objects has changed just as much. For many beginners, this is the part of astronomy that breaks them. It is the experience of setting everything up, putting the telescope at the sky, and realizing you have absolutely no idea where anything is. But this is where modern tools have made a massive difference. Go-to mounts and push-to systems have been around for decades, but in recent years they've become easier to align, easier to add to existing setups, and just generally easier to use. The biggest breakthrough has been plate solving. PiFinder, for example, can attach to almost any telescope in your collection in just a matter of seconds. A small camera looks up at the sky, identifies the star field, and then figures out where your telescope is pointed. That still feels a little bit like magic to me. I use a PiFinder on many of my telescopes, and under my light-polluted suburban skies, it opens up the ability to observe things I would probably never find manually because the pointer stars are totally washed out. Most people have to travel many hours to reach reasonably dark skies. On a daily basis, they're observing from a driveway or a backyard or a park where the sky is bright and the horizon is blocked by trees and houses and whatever else happens to be in the way. In that kind of sky, finding things can be brutally frustrating. So when a tool helps someone to get real observing wins faster, that matters. If you want to make the most of whatever sky you have, I put together a free guide to help you get more out of every session by optimizing your eyepiece selection. The link to get it is in the description. All this means that the modern beginner can get to the good part faster, the part that hooks you and pulls you in. And that's what changed my mind. I was looking at the sky getting harder to reach, and that part is real. But I was not giving enough weight to the fact that the path into the hobby has never been easier to walk. That is why I think this is the golden age of amateur astronomy. Information opened the door. Better equipment improved accessibility. Phone apps, smart telescopes, go-to mounts, push-to systems, and plate solving smooth the learning curve. That is the strange situation that we're in today. We have better maps than ever, better telescopes than ever, better apps than ever, but in many places there are fewer stars visible to the naked eye than ever before. That is why I think this moment matters so much. Because the night sky does not need fewer people paying attention to it right now. It needs more. People do not protect things that they have no relationship with. If the night sky becomes nothing more than a washed out background over a parking lot, or a place where companies put satellites, mirrors, and data centers, then most people will not even know what was lost. But the first time someone sees Saturn through a telescope, or watches the moon snap into focus, or realizes that that faint smudge in the eyepiece is another galaxy, something changes. The sky stops being a background. It becomes personal. That is why I still believe this is the golden age of amateur astronomy. Not because the sky is safe. Not because every telescope is good. Not because everything is perfect. Many of the barriers that used to keep people out are gone. And that matters because we need more people with a personal connection to the night sky. We need more people who know what is up there. More people who care that it is there. More people who understand that the sky is not just an empty space above our heads waiting to be filled, lit, sold, and commercialized. It is part of the human experience. And once that connection is lost, it is very hard to get back. So use the sky you have. Use the driveway sky, the backyard sky. Use your small telescope or those binoculars in your closet. Go out on that imperfect night and take a peek between the clouds. Don't wait to become an expert before you let yourself participate in astronomy, because the future of the night sky will not be protected by people who never look up. It will be protected by people who know what is up there, who care that it is there, and who still believe it is worth seeing. The door is open. The sky is changing. The only wrong move is waiting. Use the sky you have. And if that is the kind of astronomy you want more of, come join us. I'll leave a couple of videos on screen to help take you to the next step. Until next time, fellow Voyagers, never stop exploring.